here, for example, data privacy and security. And I found out some information collected said healthcare Internet of Things devices. I mean, they collect data, patients' data, that inadequate encryption and security can lead to data breaches. Unauthorized access also, weak authentication, device tampering, unauthorized physical access to medical devices such as insulin pumps or pacemakers can lead to device tampering. We also legacy, some of these Internet of Things devices, their firmware cannot be updated. They run on outdated software, and they cannot be patched. And so that exposes healthcare systems to attacks. Supply chain, the Internet of Things devices linked to supply chain. Some have been tampered, counterfeiting. And so, well, these are, as you can see from my screen. And then some mitigations were suggested. To mitigate these vulnerabilities in the healthcare industries, organizations should implement strong security practices, conduct regular security audits, prioritize patient data protection, and ensure that the Internet of Things devices can properly be maintained, updated, monitored, to minimize potential risk to patients' healthcare infrastructure. So I've just browsed, not to read in detail. Actually, some of the attacks that have been registered so far, like in 2017, was the WannaCry ransomware that attacked numerous healthcare institutions, including United Kingdom's National Health Service, and then in the United States, there was what they call the Medtronic insulin pump attack. And then that was in 2019. And in 2017, in St. Jude Medical Cardiac Center or Health Facility, there was also an attack. And I think these are some of the, also there was also an attack on medical health facilities known as the Mirai and Ripa. So those are some of the attacks that have been registered or that I found between 2017, 2019 in the United States and in the United Kingdom. Hello?
Yeah.
Okay, so, well,
fine.
What I did concerning this assignment.
So what informed your decision for looking at the health sector and for the IoT? And recall you're asked to define vulnerability. So we're able to define your vulnerability from this perspective.
vulnerable.
Look at the
Yes.
the lab you're acting. Yeah, did you define it?
Actually, though the definition is not here, but I
They said from your research, choose an IoT vulnerability and answer the following question. Like she's asking, she wants to be very clear with the question. You have actually make justice to, citing an example from the health sector. Excellent. And then they said from your site, you should choose the IoT vulnerability, which you have done, and what is the vulnerability. So you're able to state your vulnerability in your research work. Am I correct? And then you're also able to state the who might exploit it, and then explain in details. Am I correct?
yes, it's
And then you were able to look, why does the vulnerability exist? So you also stated it there, right?
Yes, in those subheadings.
In those subheadings, exactly. And what could be done to limit the vulnerability. So we could see all that in your subheadings and then before the write-up, which automatically gives a guide. And that's what is expected. So I don't know if any other person will have a different, of course, everybody must not write the same thing. I've walked through some of the submissions. So is there anybody again who cited a different example apart from the health sector? Is anyone here could share with us so that at least that will help every other person here to learn a lot from it. Is there another person? Because it's meant to be research work.
Hello, sir.
Okay, yes, please go ahead.
Yes, sir. The vulnerability can be actually looked at again in terms of smart cities.
Okay, that's good. Can you share your screen? Can you share what you submitted? Is it what you submitted you're discussing with us? Or
no,
just...
sir. No, sir. I was the one that gave you my mail. I've not actually submitted. So I'm just trying to just bring in my perspective, sir. So I'm not sharing the screen.
But you had access to this lab, am I correct?
No, I'm the one that sent my mail to you, sir.
What I'm saying is that I have sent the lab itself to the WhatsApp group, meaning that can be done outside.
Oh, that was an oversight, sir.
Did you? Okay,
that
go
was
ahead.
An
just share
on my part, sir.
So okay, no problem. Go ahead, please.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Looking at vulnerability from the perspective of Internet of Things, it's actually referred to a weakness of flaw in IoT system, devices, or network that could be exploited by malicious actors to compromise the integrity, confidentiality, or vulnerability of IoT ecosystems. So if we look at it from the perspective of smart cities, the devices in smart cities, we have data have to be connected. When they are collected, they have to be stored. Then there has to be communication. And then when there is communication, there has to be action to be taken. Instances is this, in smart cities, we have different sections, like for waste management, we have for power management, we could have for the transport system. So if these devices are not well protected, because if what we have is when the data are collected.
Can you hear me, Ola?
Yes, sir.
Sorry, I'm cutting you off because we have some folks here who really wants to hear from others. Want to know what to be done. Now, you're giving us your own perspective from the smart city, which is excellent.
Yes, sir. That's
smart city as a typical example of an IoT. That means a city that is connected on the internet. Now,
the question there was a case in Kiev.
Excuse me.
Before the war.
Excuse me, please. Excuse me, Ola, please. So what I want you to do, because you don't have the you've not actually looked at the lab.
Okay, sir.
This is what's expected now. The first part of it is that in your research about the smart city, what is the vulnerability that you have identified. Discuss on that aspect of the vulnerability. Then once in your discussion, I just wanted to have this header of a discussion around the vulnerability. So as you're giving us this story now, this is a guide. These are the points we are looking out for. We want you to talk about the vulnerability as per the smart city.
Okay, sir.
Stating example, and then the exploit. Who might exploit it? So who are the people that will exploit this smart city? Because the smart city itself is vulnerable. Am I correct? There are vulnerabilities. Yeah. So if you're able to look, tell us about the attack surface. I mean, the different areas that can be attacked. It's fine under the vulnerability. Then who might likely exploit this? Who are the threat actors that you think might exploit this? That is the B part. Then the C now says, why does this vulnerability exist? So in the smart city, you're telling us now, you're trying to narrate or give us some kind of explain to us to understand how vulnerability takes place in smart city. We also want to hear from you, why does this vulnerability exist? You know, in your class, in the course of your discussion, and then how could be what could be done to limit this vulnerability. So it's actually meant, so if you're doing this discussion, we just wanted to have this header so that it will guide you in your discussion while you explain what we're looking at here. So I could just help to, you can go ahead. I hope you're not distracted here.
Not really. Not really. So I'll have to work on it, sir.
Yeah. So I just wanted to just have this at the back of your mind, so you not go out of the way. So
thank you, sir. Yes, sir. I've noted it, sir.
Okay, so go ahead. Let's go ahead with your discussion. Just trying to be curious about it.
It's okay, sir. What I was trying to in my discussion is that because in smart city, the things that play out in smart cities is the lot of objects, device. Let me use the word devices are connected. So these devices that are connected have sensors and they have softwares. So they collect and share data. So these data have to be stored. When this data is stored, data analytics will now take place. So when data analytics of the stored data is take place, insights are gotten from what has been stored. Then it is this insight that are gotten that has to be transformed. That's the communication to various sections of the smart city to now act. So if there's a malicious actor that actually gets hold of this insight, he can now use it against the smart city. An example is in KEF. That's it at KEF. That's in what's the name now? KEF. There's a smart city in KEF whereby the DDoS malicious actor got wind of insight from the power management, and it caused the city blackout for like 2 months before this thing could be rectified. So that's where I'm coming from, sir. I don't know if you have gotten me, sir. Hello, sir.
Yeah, very well. So now at least you're giving us the example, the vulnerability. So why did this vulnerability exist? Why did it exist?
And like the first speaker said, at least some of it is part of the legacy, some of the devices, because these devices use software. There are no patches, there are no updates. Yes, sir.
Okay, no patches. Okay. So that means there were no patches to update anything. Yes. There. So that means they were obsolete over time.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then I think lastly is, okay, I think you've answered that. So what could be done to limit the vulnerability? What do you think can be done? Is there anything you think can be done?
One of the things I thought that could be done, it is actually essential for both manufacturers and users to take proactive measures. manufacturers should actually bring in priority in terms of security so that there could be regular updates in those devices.
Okay. So that those patches, you can have regular updates for the patches
Yes,
and
sir.
all that.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's a very good one. A number of IoT devices were recalled even by different vendors over the years. When this IoT thing came up, so many vendors were out to mass production, to catch up with the market. The vulnerability was so high to the point that they just have to recall them back. So I think that really answered that. I don't know if all the participants here are okay with the explanation. Do you have issue with that, lab, as it were? Is anyone here who still have concern or have some challenges with that? Is anyone? Okay, Hadel, I think you're fine with this explanation. Is that okay?
Yes, I think I understand. How could I do that? Thank you, Doctor.
Okay, thank you very much. So we'll look forward to see you coming up with your own example. You need the internet, you just need to Google and see if you can get other examples. Yeah.
Yes.
The two speakers actually talked on, one talked on from the health sector, looking at some of the instruments in the health sector that could be hacked, that threat actors can take advantage of. And then the other speakers talk about the smart city. These are all examples of IoT, which is Internet of Things, meaning that as more and more devices get connected, the vulnerability attack space increases. So there's another lab here, which is, and that should be according to the question. Yeah, that should be 1.1.3. That's about, it says, yeah, 1.3.4. So she also asked what is expected to be done here. So this time around, I'm going to ask, I don't know if Peter, Derek, also get ready. Some of you that have submitted, I'm going to ask you, call your names if you don't want to respond. We want you to talk to this lab. Let us hear from you based on your submission. And so others can share your opinion as well. So is anyone who just volunteered to talk on the slide? Is anyone that will share his own lab experience with us? Or you want me to call names? So we're actually looking at 1.3.4. Let me share that, 1.3.4. So can we see my screen? Hello, are we there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we're looking at 1.3.4. The FBI has estimated that cyber crime cost individuals and companies over $3.5 billion in 2019. So government, businesses, and individual users are increasing the target of cyber attacks, and cybersecurity incidents are becoming more common. So in this lab, you will create 3 hypothetical cyber attacks, each with an organization. An attack, a motive in addition, suggest a method by which an organization could prevent or mitigate the attack. So you can use the web browser in the virtual machine that was installed in previous lab to search security issues. By using the virtual machine, you may prevent malware from being installed on your computer. So meaning that you're advised to use the browser on your virtual machine, so you don't use this. Is that okay? So PC or mobile device with internet access and virtual machine is all that is needed here for the resources. Now the question is that who is the attacker? What organization or group is the attacker associated with? So that means we're saying give example of cases of attack from with an organization, an attack, a motive, suggest a method by which an organization could prevent or mitigate the attack. So is anyone who actually answer this lab that is here and wish to share your opinion or share your ideas with us. Is there anyone here? Hello? Are we here? Hello? Have I lost us? Hello? Yes,
Hello.
is anyone?
Hi, sir.
Hello, sir. We can hear you,
Yeah,
sir. We can hear you.
yes. Okay. So I'm listening. Is there anyone that wants to share his own opinion? Hello? So should I call names? I have several submissions, several examples here. But I just want you to be free to just discuss freely with us. Let's hear from you. So what you're going to talk on is, you look at it from the organization. Is there any organization you have researched out? And then also tell us how they can prevent or mitigate the attack. Okay. So who is ready? Akubam, can you just discuss on your own again?
No, Doc, not on this particular one.
Oh, you didn't do this one? You didn't submit this?
Not this one.
Not this one? So who else? So I should bring up somebody's own case. Tarek, is it Tarek here? Is Tarek here? Why all of you running away from this? And you gave me the submission here. So what we're actually looking at here is, we're looking at a kind of an hypothetical cyber attacks on an organization, of which it has happened severally over the years. And then looking at it from a motive, suggest a method by which organization could prevent or mitigate the attack. And then you are asked to use the browser to do this. So meaning that, is there any scenario, any attack you know? Is there any organization that has been attacked that you're aware of? Hello? Do we know any organization that has been attacked? Now, can anybody talk about the Iranian nuclear facility?
Yes, Doc, that is in another lab.
I know it's on another lab, but just look at it. We can see that also from a perspective of an attack.
Okay, 1 minute. Let me bring up that lab and share what I did.
Yeah, we'll just use that to demonstrate that, but that does not really mean you use that as an example, just to.
Let me share my screen again. So can you see my screen?
Can you raise your hand up? Wow, nobody? Maybe you have to Google that.
Can you see my
Okay, good. Oh, lovely. You've seen the movie. Yeah, go ahead. Just go ahead. So just pick one of these and then discuss. So we can use that as an example to talk about attack too.
All right, I'll share the There were a number of cases here. The Stuxnet virus attack, the Marriott data breach, the United Nations data breach, Microsoft. So I'll take the first one, the Stuxnet virus attack. And so the victims of the attack, the victim of the Iran was particularly targeted as a country, and the purpose was to slow down Iran's enrichment of uranium nuclear power. And what were the technologies and the tools used in this attack? It was a highly malware that exploited multiple zero-day vulnerabilities in the operating system. Rootkit was used, code injection was used, hijacking of digital certificates also were some of the technologies and tools. So we have rootkit, we have code injection, hijacking of digital certificates. And the
Have we lost you? Hello? Is Akubom there? Hello? Can you hear me, please? Can anybody hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay,
We can hear you.
lovely. So while we wait for him, I'm just trying to give you an hypothetical illustration, because the question here is just give a story of an organization or any breach, anything. So you can cite even a story. You can cite a situation where there's been an attack. So if you actually watch that IT movie, you realize that there's a family that was hacked by, do I say, a friend of one of the man's kids. That's the owner of the house. And he hacked the house such that you can actually, see everybody in the room, from the TV, from the camera, and all that. And that is what we're talking about, an attack here. And it's because all the items, or it's the smart home, meaning that every device is in the home, the appliances were all connected to the internet. And so the question is, how do you mitigate against it? And that's what that question is. So who is the attacker? So the attacker now is a threat actor. So where do you classify this person? Can you classify this person as a black hat? Do you classify this person as a gray hat, or which? So we're just looking at a scenario here. So you are at liberty to state a story, to explain a breach. It could be organization. It could be a company, for instance, in this case where he just showed us the Microsoft support database breach. That's an organization. So you can actually use this also as an example. So I'm just saying this, that we're just looking at scenario stories concerning different organizations that have been attacked in the past they're aware of. It could also be a story, it could be real, it could be. But the point is that if this happens, what is your view? What do you think will be the solution? So what organization or group is the attacker associated with? So we could say, in this case, we could say these are, you could pull them as a group of black hackers. That's looking at the severity of the attack itself. And then here is asking, what is the motive of the attack? Sometimes an attacker or a threat actor will attack for some reasons. One, for the fun of it. Two, to blackmail you. Just imagine you have a smart home or an organization that have a smart industry that is being attacked. And if it's attacked for any reason, the question is that what is the motive? Sometimes it could be for competition. It's a way of making the organization to go out of business. Probably one of the competitors might actually hire one or two individuals to carry out that attack. It could also be part of the storyline. And what method of attack was used? So the question is that did they use a DDoS? And sometimes you can even state a story. It could just be a story of maybe an airline or something, a company, and then like in Nigeria, for instance, we have airline like Arik, we have Aero. These are like airlines, and most of them you book them online. So let's assume in this scenario now, I'm looking at an attack on the Aero airline web server. So meaning that on the particular day, the organization of Aero contractors discovered that their server has been hacked and shut down, meaning customers cannot be able to maybe pay tickets online for one or two reasons. And for that, in that case, so I could say Aero contractor airline, I could just use another name. I could say spyware airlines. That's a scenario. And then their server was hacked, and then customers couldn't pay online. And if you can now see that the traffic of those who will be booking for the airlines will now be diverted to other companies, you know. And so the attacker will just, because the attacker has been paid and is a black hacker. So in this case now, we've identified who this attacker is. And the aim of the attacker in this case is the motive behind the attack is that it's for financial gain, you know. And then in doing that, you discover that the particular company in question who has hired that attacker will have also given the attacker the opportunity to, you know, to shut down all the airlines except that particular one they want them to operate. So you see that all the purchase will be going to this particular airline. So what method of attack was used? It could be a DDoS, distributed denial of service. Yeah, you all agree with me that with that you can send unwanted, unsolicited packets to that server, making it difficult for people to actually pay or buy their tickets. So what was the target and probability used against the business? So in this case, what was the target and probability used? The target here is that there could be some kind of SQL injection, but in this case, there could also be the fact that they are running on HTTP and not on HTTPS. So meaning that maybe the website is just on HTTP. So it was quite easy for the attacker to attack. And then what could that attack? Okay, how could this attack be prevented or mitigated? That's another question. So the question now is that the attack can be prevented or mitigated by maybe procuring a firewall device. So we are saying that they don't have a robust firewall, and also ensuring that the site is of HTTPS, which is port 443, has a more robust security architecture. You know, all these you are saying is you're now putting down a write-up to convince whosoever is reading it to see that, yes, there's a story, there's an attack on organization X, and you're able to identify the vulnerabilities or able to identify the attacker, and then are able to do a trace route to also see where the attacker is and why the attacker has to attack. And then you're also able to tell us how this attack was carried out and how the attack can be prevented or be mitigated. So these are scenarios, and these are the early parts of the labs, you know, that just prepare your mind, you know, ahead of what you need to do. And as instructors, our students are also meant to do this so that our students will know that once there are vulnerability attack space, attackers will take advantage of this space, or what we call the threat actors. They will take advantage of this. So you can see scenario 2, who is the attacker? That means you're meant to give 2 examples, 2 different organizations. So you can Google out stories on the internet. You can actually look at scenarios and come up with some hypothetical discussion or storyline that can capture the essence of this. You can look at even a Microsoft customer breach. You can also bring that here as part of the discussion. I don't think you have an issue with that because it has to do with the organization. So you can see the questions go on and on like that. I think this is scenario 3. So you're meant to just search out different stories. Is that okay? Is there any question with regard to this? Hadel, are you okay with this?
Yes, Doctor. Yes,
Okay,
thank you very
thank
much.
you very much. Okay, so we are discussing this so that those of you that have not done that should be able to have a clear understanding of what you ought to do. So if I'm to go back to your concern, I'm seeing 1.6. I don't know where the 1.6 is coming from. Are you referring to 1.1.6 or are you referring to 1.0.6? Is Hadel here?
Yes,
Are you referring to 1.0.6 or 1.1.6?
Really, I don't read the 1006. I don't read it. I don't know. I can solve it or not. But 1.1.6, that's what I have and not understand.
Okay, 1.6. Which in the lab I think is 1.
Cybersecurity case study.
Yeah, cybersecurity case study. So I don't know if this is what you're talking about. I just shared my. Is this?
I don't see it yet.
Okay, you can see it. Who can see this?
Maybe my internet.
I can see it. I can see it.
Is there anyone that can see it?
I
Yes,
can
I
see
can
it.
see it.
You can see it? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so this is cybersecurity case study. I think the last speaker that had network issue was already discussing this with us. So I don't know if you can just finish up the discussion. There was network issue.
I will try to log in again to the meeting. Maybe could I see your screen?
Okay, please just log in again because I think others can see it. You can. So the previous is there anyone who can also just share with us what you did here with the Stocknet virus? It's a story, very interesting one. And the Mayo data breach, United Nations data breach, Microsoft customers support data base breach. So is anyone that wants to discuss on this based on your submission? Peter, are you here?
Yes, Dr. I'm around, but I don't know whether the network why is the problem
Go
here.
ahead, just share what. Yeah, share what you have. Let's listen to.
All right, so mine is with the Stuttnet attack. That is, I think, assignment 1.1.6.
Exactly.
Please, can you hear me?
Very well, I can hear you. Can you share your submission on that?
All right, so currently I'm not with my laptop, so I'm using my phone. I don't know whether I can. I don't know whether it's okay to read it out.
No, just go ahead, read it out. Just go ahead. We'll listen to you. I can share this, and then while you go ahead and read.
Okay, so
that means you're discussing on the Stocknet, right?
Yes, please.
Okay, so you did a search on Stocknet virus, right?
Yes, please.
So can we just go ahead and listen to you? Let's hear from.
Right. So for my research, I realized it's a malicious computer worm, which was actually discovered in 2020. And it targets the SCADA, that is the supervisory control and data acquisition of most companies or industries. So let's say, for example, taking the Dangote oil refinery, for example. Yeah, hello. Hello.
Please go ahead. Go ahead. But remember, you're talking about the StockNet virus. So let's go ahead.
Yes. 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 So like I was using an example of the SCADA, that is where the StuxNet normally attacks. And we also realize it affects the Windows operating systems, and then it causes harms to the programmable logic control. Aside that, it's mostly through the USB, the mode of transfer, or like how the attack is spread is through the USB drive, and then it normally affects the Siemens Step 7 software, which is normally with the Windows operating system. And then I also realized one major hit was the attack on the Iranian nuclear program, where they had to slow their nuclear program down.
Yeah, that's good. So you're able to search and for each of the attacks listed, and then how about the Marriott data breach? Yeah, I say go ahead with the others. Let's hear from you what you're able to research out.
With the others?
Yes, with the others. I say go ahead.
Okay.
Is there anyone else who can just also make a contribution? So I just want her to see this so that.
Okay, I have done my own search. Can I talk?
Yeah, go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Okay, for the Marriott data breach, I conducted a search, and this is a data breach which occurred in the late 2018 when the Marriott International disclosed that the personal information of 500 million guests, 500 million guests had been compromised. Now the breach, the data breach was now traced back to the company's Starwood guest reservation system.
I sent you a message. I talked to them.
Hello?
Please, can you mute your mic, please? Please, can you mute your mic? No, I'm talking to the person that is distracting us. Go ahead, Peter. Please go ahead.
So I said the breach was now traced back to the company's Starwood guest reservation system, of which Marriott acquired in 2016. Now the attackers had gained they now gained authorized access to the Starwood network and exposing some of those sensitive guest data, including their names, their password, number, their date of birth, email addresses, and even their card payment information. And it's one of the data breaches in history from among the ones we were making research on. So Marriott also faced significant criticism from the delay in discovering and disclosing those breaches. So that's the information I have for Marriott's data breach. And also, the incident also raised concerns about data security, yes, and the protection of personal information in the hospitals and the industries. So that's for data breach.
Okay, thank you very much for that contribution. Is there anyone that will now talk about the other? So I want to believe she's here, she's listening to us, and she now has an idea of what is expected for her to do. You can see she's not here, Oops, she's out. Okay. So is anyone else who want to continue? I think we'll just go ahead. And then the other labs that concern have been raised is the activity 5.3.7. Yeah, I think that's the one she also raised. So can we just look at that together? So can we just bring our workstation out? And let's see if we can walk through that lab now. And that's activity. Let me bring it up. Activity 5. Okay, is it 3.5.7? Let me check what she sent here. Okay, 5.3.7.
We don't see your
So actually 5.
screen.
Yeah, 5.3.7. If you can see, let me share this. So do we have this lab? Hello. So how many of us have gotten to this level? Now I will just explain this lab, what is expected, and then I will just start it up. And so you have a direction of what you're expected to do. This is a miniate topology, meaning that it's a software-defined topology which runs on Linux. Give you an insight of, when I say software-defined, everything is already mimic within the Linux operating system. And that's where the network is going to, it's going software-defined. So in this case, you can see there's a private IP address, the network to H4, and then you also have another one down here, and then you have our own. And these are all systems connected to this LAN switch. And so if you look at it, it's like install and verify the miniate topology, capture, analyze ICMP data in Wireshark. So how do you do that? And then so the CyberOps includes a Python script. And when you run, it will set up and configure the device, as shown. And so if you look at this required resources, you need a cyber workstation and virtual machine. And here it says install and verify miniate topology. So because it's already in there, use this Python script. So let's see how that works. And so if you open your CyberWorks, you type username analyst and password is what? CyberOps. And then you're expected to type the sudo lab.support files. The reason why you're doing this is to bring up the miniate topology. So can we just quickly, everybody type this, and let's walk through this lab together. Hello?
Hi.
So you're expected to go to, so if you can actually see my screen here, it's expected that you go to application, and then you go to your terminal, and then you're asked to type this. So I want to believe everybody's doing that. So what you're asked to type is to type the sudo, sorry. So how many of us were able to do this? So you type your sudo, I need to put this. So that should be, just a minute, let me bring it up. Put it by side. I hope you can see my screen, please. Hello?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So you meant to type your sudo, and then you space that, and you put your, so you can go ahead and correct. Okay. sorry. And then I'm using a different system. Okay, fine. Then you put your app with support. That files, and then support the files, and then you put slash scripts. How many of us have done this lab? We should have all be done with this lab right now. Let me just so sure a script, and then you put your slash CyberOps, which is the, and then your underscore your topo, that's a topology, and then the .py, and then you have your pseudo, okay, and then password for the analyst. Now, the reason why you're doing this is because you're doing this to actually call up your the topology, that's the minute topology. And remember what I said is that the minute topology is actually a software-defined topology that is embedded within the Linux. So this is topo, and then the py. And then you go ahead and put your sudo. You can see, yeah, sudo, then password, and then for analyst. This. And then, what is our password, please? Are we there?
Password is
CyberOps.
Yeah, password is CyberOps. Thank you very much. Password is CyberOps. Okay, sorry. Okay. Did I skip anything?
Yes, there is a comma instead of point.
Support comma. This support.files or support comma.
Is support.files.
Yes.
Yeah.
Use comma.
After the where?
Hello?
Yeah. The pseudo. Okay. I think no, this is it. I've seen where the problem is.
Put the space between the pseudo, yeah.
Yeah, there's a space. Yeah, exactly. It's pseudo space before. So I think. Okay, fine. So this is. So you just need to check this. So now, if you look at this, I don't know how many of you got to this stage. This actually mimic the topology of your H1, H2, H3, H4, which you can see from the lab that is given to us. So if you look at the lab critically, you realize that that actually was stated there. So you can see even in the, you have the H1, H2, H3, H4. And then the question says that currently on H1, isn't it? Are we following? Please bring up the lab so you can be seeing what I'm talking about. So he said at the minute prompt, start the terminal windows on host H1 and then xtemp H1. So you can see we're already on xtemp H1. And then what do you do at this point? If you look at the lab, is everyone following? Please, you need to be doing this alongside. So let's see if you have any issue, we'll know what to do from there. So you record IP and MAC address for H1. So how are you going to record the MAC address? So after you'll have gotten this startup. The next thing is you type your extem H1 and then see that. So I already have my extem H1 here, and then you enter the extem H2. So let's see, this H1 has been entered. Okay. And then it's saying, let's just go there. It's saying, the second one says, at the prompt on the node of H1, enter the IP address. So meaning that if I go to this, what are you expected to do? So what's the IP address?
I think H1 should be capitalized, sir.
Yeah, it said the IP address
H1.
for, yeah, extem H1. So now we're asked to, at the prompt of the node H1, enter the IP address to verify the IPv4.
Must be in capital.
Terminal
Yes.
is not connected. Terminal is not connected to H1.
No, yeah.
Terminal is not connected to H1. So we have to connect terminal to H1. So when we do, we say extend, right?
H1.
Are we following? H1, agreed.
Extend.
H must be
extend.
Extend.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
H must
and
be
then
in capital.
H capital.
H1, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Right.
Okay, fine. Now that brings out the terminal, right? Are we following?
Yes.
And then if the terminal pops up, here is it said put the IP address. That means you're going to type the IP address for this, and then let's see. Now the question is that can we identify the IP address here? So here is the question, and the question says, at the prompt of H1, enter the IP address to verify the IPv4 address and record the MAC address. Do same for what? H2, isn't it? So what did you get as your MAC address and the IP address? Did you get the same? The same thing? Can anybody just call up your own?
No, for IP address are the same, but for MAC address are different for each machine.
So what did you get as your IP?
The IP was 10.0.11.
10.0.11. Yeah, 10.0. Okay, that's what you got.
Yes.
Do we all got the same thing? So you can see that here, right? And what did you get as your MAC?
MAC are very are different. They are the same. I don't remember, but are not the same.
Yeah, I'm expecting that everyone should be doing this so that we can just get different readings based on MAC address. I agree with for the fact that we're doing this directly on the platform. We're meant to get the same IP address, but fine. But with MAC address will be different because we're using different virtual device, machines. So I'm asking, let's get to hear from those who are doing it. Is there anyone that is currently doing the same thing as I'm doing this? So if you do this, you do same for H2, am I correct? So if you do for
Terminal here. H2.
H2, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So what did you get?
10.0.0.12.
Yeah, is that what you got too?
Yes, for IP address.
Is there anyone with a different? Yeah. And
We
then
got the same IP.
What is your mark for this?
I will check it.
Please, I just want to hear from you. Let me know, be sure you're also doing this to get the MAC address.
Yes,
The aim of this investigation is the ability of the students to be able to interact with the platform and then be able to fetch out the IP address and identify them alongside with the MAC address. So it's part of the analysis you're doing here. So can I hear from you what your MAC address is?
I will check MAC address for me. For H2 is C2 4402 86 59 FA.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much for that. Yeah. So is there another person with was anybody able to do this?
Yeah, for me, the MAC address is different.
So Agilos were able to do this?
Yes, hello?
Same IP, different MAC address, eh?
Yeah, I just want to hear the different MAC addresses we have. Okay.
Yes.
So the step one say examine the captured data on the same LAN. Remember this local area network. So in this step, you say you're asked to examine the data that was generated by the ping request using the Wireshark is displayed in 3 sections. So the section display the list of PDU frames captured with a summary of the IP listed. So the middle section of the list PDU. I hope we know what the PDU stands for. What is the PDU here? What do we mean by the PDU? What do we mean by the PDU?
It's a protocol data unit.
Yeah, so we're looking at the PDU at what layer, please?
Layer 2.
The PDU at what layer, which is the layer 2? Is that okay? So I said on node H1, enter Wireshark and to start the Wireshark. So on node H1, I believe you can see this is H1 for me. This is H1. Oops. Okay, this is H1 here. Enter what? Wireshark, right?
Wireshark.
Yeah. Wireshark and it's not on, and so my Wireshark is up. Can you see my Wireshark, please? So you now go straight to the Ethernet port. Let's read the instruction. Please, you just go with the instruction. So with the Wireshark on, I couldn't connect to these, map without the translate. So in the Wireshark window, under the capture heading, select the H1 Ethernet 0. Please note this is actually referring to this Ethernet 0. Can we say this?
Yes. Yes.
Yes,
Okay. So it's actually telling you the ports which H1 is connected to. I hope you know the H1 we're talking about, the PC here.
Yeah.
Are we fine, please? You need to understand every step of what you're doing. So when you click on this, this is what you get.
Yes. Okay,
fine. So this brings you to the Wireshark environment. Like I told us earlier, the Wireshark is also in the CyberOps station. So even the scripts, the Python script, they're all embedded in. So let's go ahead. And so we're asked to open up the Ethernet 0. So on the node H1, press the enter key if necessary to get a prompt to be sure, and then ping that C5 10.0.0.12. Now the question is that what are you pinging? Where is this IP address 10.0.0.5? Who can tell me that? From your topology, where is this IP address?
What was the question?
The question says you should ping, meaning that we're going to say on node H1, enter the enter key if necessary. You know, when you ping this, it's meant to actually display on the Wireshark. The Wireshark is to monitor the activities of whatever you're doing. Is that okay? And so here we are asked to the command option, which is -c, specify the count of numbers of pings. In this case, that's in the case of your real system, you put -t, isn't it? Here you're putting the C to look at it, the count or number of pings you're going to carry out. So we're looking at how many pings here? 5, right?
5, yes, 5.
So, yes, 5 pings. So ping -c 5. So I'm asking this question: the 10.0.0.12. Looking at the minute topology, where is 10.0.0.12? Where do we have 10.0?
H2. The host
H2. Thank you, man. So that means you're actually on H1 and you want to ping what? H2. So what are you testing when you're pinging H1 and H2? So we're going back to, so I pressed the enter key and I've been asked. So when you do that, what are you trying to test from our discussion, our class discussion?
Connectivity
Test
between
connectivity to
between the two hosts.
Connectivity
to H2.
Between the two hosts.
So what is the protocol?
ESMP.
The ISMP, thank you very much, the ISMP. So we're actually testing the ISMP, which is connectivity here. So that's the verification. So we said 5, and then what's the IP address?
10.0.0.12.
So we said that C5 what? 10 point what?
0.0.12.
0.12.
Yeah.
Okay. So can you ping that from your end? And what did you get?
Yes. It was successfully
ping 5. Okay. So you press enter. And did you get up to that 5 count?
Yes.
Oh, lovely. Now, can you see from the Wireshark? You can see the Wireshark also displaying that also, showing you the ISMP. And that's what I was asking about. The protocol, which is the ISMP. And then we can see the app here. What did we say the app is?
It's for MAC address resolution.
Yeah, for the address resolution protocol. So it's, and what is it? How does it work? What does it map?
It sent a broadcast message to all hosts in the local network to determine the destination MAC address. The IP.
Yes, the source and the destination. It will resolve the source IP and the destination MAC address.
Yes,
that's good. So let's go with the next question. So you can see how you're meant to carry out this investigation. But the truth here is that navigate to the Wireshark windows, click stop to stop the packet capture, and then a filter can be applied to display only the interested traffic. So we're asked to go to this. So the question is, where is the stop? Let me know.
Right button.
Thank you very much. So and then that stops that, right? Good. Then you're asked the question. So just for you to follow the procedure, to stop the packet capture, a filter can be applied to display only the interested traffic. So we want to now type ICMP in the filter field and click what? Apply. And what is the ICMP? So this is the filter here. Can you see that? So you type ICMP, right? Now, are we looking at version 4 or version 6?
Version 4.
Now, why are we looking at version 4 in this case?
For the error to have the statistic about error and echo and request. For IPv6, we may use it to like DHCP and router discoveries.
Yeah, if it's the ICMP version 6, automatically it's a situation where you have actually configured the minute with IPv6. But in this case, your configuration is IPv4. So you'll be testing the ICMP. So on the Wireshark here, the ICMP is referring to ICMP version 4. So in case you don't see version 4, don't get confused. So once you put this, you press enter. So you can see all the protocols here are all ICMP. Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay, so you just keep going with the instruction. And it says, if necessary, click the ICMP request PDU frame in the top section of the Wireshark. So I expected that as you're doing this lab, you're actually screenshotting every step and then explaining what you've done and be sure of what you have captured, not just for reporting, but having the understanding of what you're doing. Okay, so it says, if necessary, click the first ICMP request PDU frame in the top section of the Wireshark. And then it says, notice that the source bottom has H1 IP address and the destination column has 2 HP addresses. Have we confirmed that?
Yes.
Okay. So now the next procedure, let's go on. When the PDU frame, still select in the top section, navigate to the middle section and click the arrow to the left, Ethernet, as the case may be. So you can actually come down here. If you open here, it can also open up for you to see what you have. At every point in time, you can open up, right?
Yes.
Yeah. To give you more details of this. Now, but this is the question here. Does the source MAC address match the H1?
Yes.
Does it match the H1? From your system, please.
For my system is check. H1 is F2, A2, EC, 1F, 8E, F8.
Is that what you got?
Yes, for my machine.
Okay. Some other person, please. Can you just check what you have?
Yes, I am having the same.
Oh, lovely. Okay, fine. So note in the present example, capture the ICMP. So let's look at the header fine. Examine the captured data on remote LAN. That's looking at 2. You will ping a remote host and examine the generated data from the ping to determine what is different about the data from the examine in part 1. So at the minute from start terminal windows on host H4 and R1. So you go to xterm H4, right? Are we there? So if you want to go to the xterm, you go back to your prompt. Xterm what?
Yes, H4.
Yeah, and that, yeah, 4, and that brings up the 4. So you can see this terminal automatically brings you into the terminal of that PC H4. That's what it means. So whatever you're doing it directly on that PC. So let's see what we're asked to do, and then we're also going to do xterm R1. So what is R1?
Router between LANs.
Gateway.
Good. So the router R1 is out, and then what's the next thing to do? Can somebody be reading it so that we'll just be going ahead? So at the bottom on the node of H4, enter the IP address to verify the IP address and record the MAC address. The same for the node R1. So let's see what we have in H4. So what do you have as your address?
For each 4, C 172.16.0.40.
That's what you have. Who else?
Yeah, I have the same IP.
Okay.
Yes,
So
same IP address.
you got 172.16.0.40.
Yes.
Yes.
So what's your MAC address then?
And the prefix is 12.
Okay, lovely.
Are
What's your
different.
MAC address?
Are different. For me, I have 56E18F7E79C3.
Oh, okay. Yours is different. So is there another person who have a different MAC address? I hope you're able to identify that. So this is the IP for me here. So what's your MAC
Sorry,
address?
are you discussing the MAC address of H4?
Yeah, your MAC address of your own. I can just only hear only two voices I'm hearing here. What about the others? Are we following, or do we have issue with this?
We are following, sir. We are following. We are following.
Yeah. Hello, can we?
Yeah, go ahead. I just want to be sure that I'm carrying everyone along.
For H4, same IP address 172.16.
What's your MAC address?
The MAC address is KE386F CE05 C3.
Okay. So let's go to the router. So what do you have in your router?
R1.
Your router, the IP address on your router.
We have two IP addresses, one for Ethernet 1 and other for Ethernet 2.
Correct. For the Paris interface is 172.16.0.1.
Same IP address as
Now, can you see the IP address on the router? Now, can you also refer to the topology? If you look, yeah, the topology you have a network of 172.16.0.0/12, right?
Yes.
Now you have 10.0, you have two interfaces here on the router. You have the one, are we following?
Yes, one connected to H4 and other is connected to switch 1.
Lovely.
Yeah.
So I want you to give me the two different IP addresses you're getting on R1. I want you to give me the one that is connecting to the switch and then the one connecting to the PC.
Yes.
So can I hear from you?
The one connected to switch is 10.0.0.1 for IP address.
So can you identify it there?
For
Can we
Ethernet
see
1.
it here?
Yes, same address.
And then what is the subnet mask for that?
Subnet mask for 10, subnet mask, I will check, serve 24, and other
Yes,
is
24.
and other is 12.
Exactly. So can we now look at the interface to the PC?
Is H1, H4.
Exactly. So what's the IP address?
172 16.0.1.
Correct. So what's the MAC address, the Ethernet frame, the PDU frame for that interface?
PDU frame.
Yeah, that's the MAC address.
MAC address. For me, I have
interface.
I have 0 EEC 96 51 77 EB.
Okay. Yes, I think yes. So who else? I just want to hear from some other person.
I have a different MAC address than the one my colleague said.
Yeah. So can I hear what you have?
Yes, sir. For ETH2 of the router,
Yes.
is 8A55 EE 5E876.
Okay. So what about to the one connecting to the switch?
ETH1. It is 6616 1D EC 5A 97.
Yes. For me, I have different one. I have E8G EB 4E80F4.
Yeah, this is what I look forward to. Once you make a submission, I try to check to be sure that two persons are not giving me the same MAC address. Because in some cases, you see people just sending in submissions from other candidates. So that's why I'm asking all those questions to be sure that we're not repeating each other here. So if you look clearly, so you can see this is the investigation, and the essence of all this is for you to be able to analyze your packet, to check your frame, you check to be sure that there's connectivity. And so if you go down also, I think we have to see more questions that are there. But I want to believe, but some folks were saying they're having issue with the Wireshark. And is anyone here who had that issue again? Some folks were complaining that it wasn't working for them. Okay, so if you look at the next, is it ping H4 from H1? Can you ping H4 from H1?
Yes.
So,
yes.
Any issue with that? No issue.
For me, no.
No issue.
Okay. And then to clean up all the processes that were used by the minute, enter the sudo MNC so to clean it up. You have any issue with that?
No
issue. Okay.
No issue.
So now, in summary, do we know what this topology? What is the lesson from this topology? What can somebody just tell me in summary what this topology is helping us to achieve?
When we ping from H4 to any of the internal hosts, or versa, we will actually ping the gateway. So MAC addresses will talk only to the interface within its prefix or within its subnet, but IP address actually is like fixed for end-to-end communication. So IP address will, but MAC address will be changed.
So in this case, you're actually testing ICMP, and then, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So that is for ICMP. And then what else, again, are we able to take away from here? Because when you actually look at this scenario, if you're to explain this to your student, you need to let them understand that the topology in question that you are trying to, the scenario is for them to, first of all, be able to set up such topology first, carry out a ping command between two hosts, just like you would do on your packet tracer to test for connectivity. So you need to understand that, oh, fine, they need to test for connectivity. And then you're also explaining the aspect of the Wireshark as a software protocol analyzer, which will enable them to be able to troubleshoot, analyze ICMP, and then look at PDU. And so you can see the PDU of what we are trying to catch is the frame, which is from the switch. You also need to show them that what you're able to capture and then relate it with the ports as well. But in this case, I think we're not looking at ports here, we're looking at ICMP packet. And so you need to explain these protocols to them. So I think one of the best way to do this is for every class we take henceforth, we look at the lab side of it and come back to the lab so that it will help the student to be able to understand why you have such scenario. So I want to believe from this example, we don't have issue with using Wireshark to monitor ICMP data. Am I correct?
Yes.
So I would love everyone to just maybe follow through with the video, the recording after this class now. I'll just make the recording available. You just walk through it, take your time, repeat it over and over, look through what we have, make sure you're able to identify the various IP addresses alongside with the MAC address of the system. And also recall that you're not going to get the same MAC address. So if you use different system, you have different MAC address. But for the IP address, fine, because the topology is already represented in the minute, meaning that you already have it software defined. It's already in the algorithm, so the IP address cannot change. But for the MAC address, because you have different system you're using here, you're sure to have a different MAC address. And please check it to be sure that all your Wireshark is working, everything is working out for you, so that subsequent labs, you might not be having issues with them. I think that will go a long way to help. And if you look at the lab manual, you're actually meant to supply the IP address that you have discovered in the space. So if you look at, there's a provision where you type in the IP address, right? And then the MAC address. Are we correct?
Yes.
Because I have some submissions. Some folks did not even put I keep saying the MAC address I saw actually were not the MAC I presumed were not MAC address from their system. So please, you need to be, they were all the same thing. You can't be doing H4, H3, H1 and be getting the same MAC address. So kindly go through that same lab again and see if there's any mistake, so you can correct the mistake. So with this, is there any question with this activity? Do you have any issue with this activity, as it were? Or is there anything we don't really get that is not clear to us? Yes. So please, you can walk through this lab over and over. And so we're meeting tomorrow to continue with the theory, but I can assure you we'll have maybe like 3 more sections with more practicals to do. So any questions so far? So you can pause at this point. Is there any question? Yeah, go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Just in my virtual box, Wireshark command not working, but my colleague correct this with Wireshark minus GTK.
Your H1?
Wireshark to GTK command. To run the Wireshark application in the lab, they set just type Wireshark and press enter. This we found command not working in my virtual box.
It's not working?
Yeah, it's working with command Wireshark minus GTK.
Oh, really? Are you okay?
That I can run the application Wireshark, as our colleague also advertised this in the WhatsApp group. Just
okay, but when you use the GTK, it works for you.
Yeah, it's working.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
That's
okay. So were you able to run the other parts of the lab?
Yeah.
Are you done with that part? Or are you still having issue with the lab?
Oh, that's okay. Remaining labs.
You still have any issue with it?
No, it's okay.
Okay. So once you're able to issue that command and it gives you that, that's fine. So I'm going to stop here and then I'll make the recording available, but please keep working on the labs and keep taking your assessment when we meet tomorrow. And the deadline for the submission for this chapter 1, that's module 1 to 5, is tomorrow. Sorry, that's Friday, right? We said Friday. We all agreed Friday.
Yes, Friday.
Okay, so tomorrow is Friday.
Okay.
So once you're not able to submit tomorrow, it means that you seems not to be interested in this.
How many labs to be submitted by tomorrow?
It's from lab 1 to 5. Lab 5, everything.
5. There is an exact list for labs, for all labs, or we must do every lab in the course?
Hello?